My name is Freda Smith, and this is Franklin Boulevard Media. I am originally from Kings Mountain. I've been living in Gaston since 1993. I do a yearly mammogram ever since I was 40. Over the years, I've had the fibroid, whatever the fibroids in my breast. Had a mass removed back in the 90s in my right breast. Had the needle biopsy and all that. So December of 2021, had my mammogram. And, they'll call you if they see something. So they were like, we see something abnormal, which I've heard before. And I'm like, okay. So, of course, you go back. They do an ultrasound. And when they seen the ultrasound, they first thought it was maybe a cyst. They might could go in with a needle and drain, but they say we'll either do the needle biopsy or the needle aspiration or the biopsy. So when I got scheduled for it, when I came back to have whatever, they just automatically did the biopsy where they go in and cut some samples off of the tissue. And they were like, well, you'll hear from us in about 5 to 7 business days. That was the 19th of January. Well, I got a call on the 21st of January. And when I got a call that soon, I was like, they must have seen something. So, I still didn't think cancer or anything, but when she called me, she told me, she said, well, your results came back and it is cancer. So I said, okay, I'm good. And I was like, God, I say, this is your battle. I say, it's too big for me. But I'll put this little bit in. My daughter, Stacy Wilson, she was diagnosed February of 2017 with breast cancer at 35. And she had suffered with sickle cell disease all her life. So in and out of hospitals all her life with that. And then out of the blue comes this cancer. So I think hers was like stage 3 or 4. It was the metastatic. So she went in and she had the left breast removed, got ready for radiation, and it had already spread to her liver, lymph nodes, lungs, and the other breast on the other side. And so we decided we was going to take her to, this is about her right now, but they decided they were going to take her up to Chapel Hill and do research. But she could never get well enough, to do the research. So November of 2017, she succumbed to breast cancer at 35. And so, she had gotten her life right with God, and she was ready. She was tired, and I told her, go be with Jesus. I say you're in a win-win situation. You win if you get healed on this side. You win if you get healed on that side. So I'm raising 3 of her children, and now have gained 2 great-grandchildren. And I see my daughter in every one of them every day. But when they told me, first I say, God, this is your battle. But then I told the devil, I said, you got to come with something better than this. So, and I was like, God, I've trusted you through so much, even through a loss of a daughter. I say, I'd be foolish to not trust you now. So, I knew the word. I know God. He's in me. And I just kept speaking the word and speaking life over myself, speaking healing and everything. So February 15th was my consultation. And at that point, only my husband and my daughter, one daughter, and my grandchildren that live with me knew. I went ahead and told them, because of their mom and stuff. But February 15th, I had my consultation, and she just went over everything, the different steps I could take. She didn't think I needed to have a mastectomy at all. It was like stage 0, and it was like 5-6 millimeters, very small. They said it was so small that I would never have been able to feel it. But after that, March the 13th is when I had my lumpectomy. And I went in, They say they got it all. It was still contained just in the duct area, so I didn't have to worry about having no lymph nodes moved or anything. So after the lumpectomy, sometime in April, I also had a breast reduction because the size of my breast, as small as the tumor, the cancer was. She told me I was eligible for the breast reduction, so I'm like, okay, let's do it, So we went through all that, and May 26th, I started radiation. I took 20 rounds of that, so on June 23rd, I rang the bell. I was cancer-free when they told me I had cancer, because that's what I believed. So I've been cancer-free for like 4 months now. When I had to tell my family, I had to remind them that this was not like Stacy's. I say, don't compare me to Stacy. This is totally different. And me and my family, I am, to them, superwoman. I am that one that I have to think for everybody, I have to do for everybody. So I had to think, okay, God is not through with me yet. I kept looking at those children, just looking at my grandchildren and knowing what they went through. I knew they wouldn't, So just looking at those grandchildren every day, I knew I had to suck it up, be strong, and, and I could talk to them constantly and let them know that I was okay. And I say I'm going to be around a long time, First of all, trust God, because cancer is not a death sentence. For so long, when you hear the word cancer, immediately we think, oh, I'm going to die. But, you have to know the word of God, speak the word of God. I shall live and not die, and just mainly speak the word of God and trust God that if he bring you to it, he'll bring you through it. Ladies, even gentlemen, please, please, please have your mammograms. Check yourself when you're in the shower, whenever. Know your bodies and just check yourself.